everyone, Richard Carlton here. Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I am, once again, Richard Carlton, creator of fmtraining.tv. That's where you're at. If you're watching me, you're at fmtraining.tv. Welcome. Every day at 1 o'clock Pacific time here in the western part of the United States, we are broadcasting on FileMaker training topics, a wide variety of topics. Every day is a little bit different. And so today is going to be another exciting day. I promise it'll be well worth your time. Point out the upcoming broadcast schedule. So I'm going to go to fmtrain.tv. I'm going to press the button and we get the upcoming broadcast schedule right here. So fmtrain.tv, press the live tab right here. So we have Joe Martin again today. Then we have 2 days of Nick Hunter next week. Will be more advanced reporting. And then basically Wednesday is going to be for beginning and advanced beginners and maybe a little bit of intermediate. It's mostly for people, we're talking about if you have a single Excel file, but the Excel file contains data, people go, it's got to import it into FileMaker. And you go, no problem, just drag and drop the FileMaker, it's done. Yeah, but the data goes into multiple tables, right? So then we're going to spend a little time talking about that. It's not hard. Once you see it's done, it's pretty easy, but something to think about. And then Thursday is kind of an open Q&A day. Today is OAuth, but it's with 360 products and how to read email in with the email plugin and really interact with it. So, for example, when you send an email to RC Consulting at tech support, I can do this real quick. Let me see if I can go into FileMaker here real quick. This is a list view of a system, and it is showing the inbound email. So if one of you sends me an email within 10 minutes at Support RC Consulting, it'll pop in here. And then these are the people that have been responding to emails today. It ranks them by performance. So it gives them like a little score and an attaboy, and you get a high score if you're like clearing out the mails. A couple of these mails are training issues for engineers to understand. This gentleman here is looking for a FileMaker 16 file. I'm not sure why he's looking for a 16 file. I guess he doesn't want to update to a new version of FileMaker. Anyway, there was a question for this, and then some of you had ideas for topics for upcoming webinars. So sometimes these get left in here for me. So we are reading, I don't know if we're using POP or IMAP here, but we're reading the email messages into FileMaker so we can manage them in FileMaker. So one of the things that you're going to see today is some of this kind of stuff. Now this is my specific implementation. We've been using this for 12 years or so at least. So 15 years, but and it gets updated. So this is currently running an 18 or 19 server, and and every 10 minutes or so it runs a process. It'll read. I can manually do it right now. I can say check email. It will manually read on this computer here, assuming I have the email plugin. It will check to see if there's any new messages. Is it reading from the mailbox? Now what's going to happen is that Joe is going to explain to us how we mostly always screw this up, which is exciting. But he's also going to give us the keys on how to play with it and demo it and how to practically use this. Like here we go. So there we go. So Elzo just sent me a message here, right? So there you go, Elzo, live in real time. That's again, I tell people we eat our own dog food. We use FileMaker. Go to people in various companies who sell versus things. I'm not going to tell you what companies to go to, and ask them if they use the product and to show you that you use the product. We talk about FileMaker. We train on FileMaker. We use it. Why it's called lemur litter, long story. But it's like one of those inside company jokes. Now it's called lemur litter, like a cat and a litter box kind of idea is the idea. So that's a comic way back in the day from back when Steve Jobs was alive, and he got into a big argument, and he said his cat sat in a litter box with millions of dollars and went on the millions of bucks. It was a joke, but it was a funny joke, and it was a comic because Valve tried to hold Apple hostage to do games for the Mac, and Jobs told him that the $1 million he was going to get, he was going to line his cat litter box with it because he could just have his cat shit on $1 million and no one would care, right? So it was kind of funny. Anyway, so that's how inside tech business things get started. And suddenly we have lemur's litter, right? So there you go. So I tell my staff, check the lemur litter, they're checking the tech support. And then so that's how that works. So Joe, are you there? Joe, are you there? Hello, Joe. Joe, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
You are there. We're going to switch to Joe Cam. There's Joe Cam.
Hey.
And so I gave everyone a practical view of kind of what we did with the email plugin. You can do a lot of stuff. You can send emails, of course. A lot of people do that. But you can also receive emails, which can be handy for triage purposes, right? Because it goes in, you have a team of people. Because the last thing you need in a company, really, unless you're trying to like get a hold of Brad Freitag at Claris, You don't, and even there, when you go send the email to Brad Freitag, I'm pretty sure Brad doesn't really mostly see it. I think he has assistants that help him like sort that stuff out. But if you send an email to Claris tech support at claris.com or whatever you do, whatever their tech support is, they have a whole tech support team that triages that mail, goes into a thread, they keep track of the conversation. That's what our system does. That's all based in FileMaker. It's ugly. It's not neomorphismed or whatever. That interface goes back. It was a black and white interface with very little color in it. Goes way back. Years. And we didn't update the interface because guess what? It worked just fine. In fact, the only time we get mad when it doesn't work is somehow our plugin license expires and we have to get a new plugin license or something, right? So, so Joe, you want to talk to us
Sure.
about this a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's lots of business use cases why you'd want to pull in emails from an email inbox, like say you've got a support mailbox, or you've got that's where your consulting leads come in, and you want to do some sort of pre-processing or massaging in FileMaker of those emails. That's where the email plugin comes in. We can actually scan an email inbox and pull in the emails that have been sent there. There's lots of ways to send mail from FileMaker. FileMaker has a native send mail script step, and there's lots of, you can actually use like insert from URL to do HTML emails and stuff, but it's actually very difficult to read emails in to FileMaker. And so that's sort of, I think, one of the real power features of the email plugin. The reason I wanted to come on today and sort of talk about this was there are some changes in the major email players, namely Google and Office 365 have hinted that they are going to sort of disallow well, let me back up a second. For years and years, probably what you're doing right now, Richard, is just connecting to Google or your mail server with just a plain username and password. And that's how it's been. That's worked great for years.
Correct. Yeah, we're not going to change it until someone starts squealing, right?
Right.
Like if you're staff and they start squealing, ah! Right? Then we change it. But if it's not broke, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Right. I feel the same way. Unfortunately, it's there's no set date right now, and so there's no real rush. But both Google and Office 365 have stated that they're going to be moving away from this basic authentication, from these plain username and password logins. And so if you want to continue to integrate your FileMaker with your Gmail inbox, you're going to have to move to using OAuth tokens, which was actually a nice kind of segue from yesterday. So this is actually one of the new features that are in the email plugin. Is now we can actually connect to the Google and Office 365 mail servers using these OAuth tokens. So if you switch now, you shouldn't see a kind of a disruption in your service. And I kind of wanted to kind of go through that today. Should we just go ahead and jump in?
Yeah, go ahead and jump in, and he's going to leave you with a way of demoing and playing with this. So for those of you wondering about this, to make a more frictionless demo, he's going to get you set up with your API key that you can play with a little bit. And it's free kind of thing, but we don't know how long it'll last. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip you over to full screen, Joe, so you have full screen. I'm going to move my boxes out of the way here.
Thank you for the reminder. That is, yeah.
Cool. All right. So we go to 360Works. You redesigned your website. We go to products. You have all these amazing products.
And an email plugin. You can get to it from. I think I sent you a couple links. One was directly to the email plugin page, and then I also sent you a direct download for the email plugin itself. But I just wanted to show you real quick. If you come to our products page, you just make sure you're on the email plugin. If you click right here, this download current version link. This is a direct download for this will work for pretty much any product. So if you just want to get straight to the download, this is where you click. Once you have that, I've already got this downloaded, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up our sample file here. You can come to we can come into our demo examples and then our Gmail section here. And this was, so for the purposes of this demo, I actually, you know, if you like this and you want to implement this in production, you're going to have a couple hoops to jump through. Google, you have to set up this Google developer account. You have to sort of get all these pieces in place.
This sucks. Okay, yeah. I'm canceling the broadcast. Yeah. I'm shutting it down. I'm canceling the broadcast. That's too much work. Unless you have a better plan.
Well, I wanted everyone here today, I wanted to help y'all get up and running soon. So I already went through this process and I've set up some demo keys for us to use.
We get free stuff? We get free stuff?
You get free stuff.
Never mind. The broadcast is now turned back on. We're back
on. So I think I sent these to you, Richard. If you could post those where people can see them, what you're going to want to do is grab this Google Client ID and client secret and basically put them right here in the demo file.
Okay, stand by. Now, I'm working on it. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, got it. Yep, here we go. Yep.
Great. And there's one more step. I need to unfortunately, or it's not too bad, but basically in order for someone to use those keys properly, I need to go ahead and add them as a registered user for this Google developer account. So if everyone could, if everyone kind of on the stream right now wants to send me a Gmail address that they want to play with, I can add them to this key. And then I guess I should point out that I've got 100 user cap right here.
But we probably have 40, 50 people here right now. It's a slow day for us. So if you want to send email to, where are we going to send the email to? Joe?
Let's do it. Yeah, if you do it Martin_demo.
Martin_demo at
360Works.com.
360Works.com. I'm going to put it in the Slack here. Can you see Slack on another screen? Or not Slack, but Discord on another screen, where we have the.
I can't. I could.
Okay, let me paste it here in Slack. Can you confirm that's the correct one there? Slack
here.
Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, cool.
That's it.
All right, so I gave that to Discord. I'm giving it to YouTube. Right. So if you want to send an email like right now, he will add you to that list. Mm-hmm. And so the idea. So there was this question here, but I think we're answering this question, right? There's a question from. I think this is this Burgie? Is this the Burgie, like the Burgie in the FileMaker community? Bergie, but I'm pretty sure the question is there a way to overcome the Gmail setup that is blocking, quote, less secure application in an automatic manner with the plugin?
That's exactly
that's what we're doing right now, right? Isn't that what we're doing? Yeah.
You don't have to, when you use an OAuth token, you don't need to enable less secure apps anymore. This is the secure way to do it. But it does add this kind of extra hoop that you have to jump through. Now we need to go get that OAuth token, and I already did this. So let me delete my token because we're going to fetch a new one. So what you're used to doing, I think, is putting in a username and password and then connecting directly to the email plugin.
Correct.
Now we need to sort of go through this OAuth workflow. So I created a demo email here. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to click this button and we'll kind of see what happens. This is actually going to open up a web page for Google because we're going to log into Google now using the account that we want to send mail with. Now this might sort of remind you of yesterday when we were logging in through Google or through Office 365. You know, we clicked our login in FileMaker and it opened up a web page where we had to go log in. And that's exactly the same thing that's happening here. We want to connect to our Google account, so we've got to log in through Google here. And so let me get my, this is my clipboard here. I'm just going to type in the email address that I'm going to log into here and do our password here as well. And then, so like I said, I just created this Google developer account. So you're going to see this warning that Google hasn't verified this app, and we're going to say continue anyway, because we all know and trust 360Works at this point, I hope. So I can allow the email plugin to connect to my Google account. And if this all goes well, we should see a success message here in just a second. There we go. So I kind of want to stop. Well, here, I'll close this window and we're going to jump back to FileMaker, because we've sort of paused in the middle of this login script in FileMaker, and because we have to shunt the user over to the Google web page so that they can log in. And then only after they've logged in, behind the scenes, Google has given 360Works that OAuth token. And now we need to fetch it and pull it back into FileMaker. So it's this big round trip we're making, and we complete that round trip. Once we've logged in, we can tell FileMaker to go fetch that token, and it tells us we're connected. And so we can actually see what our token looks like here. It's just a bunch of junk, but this is what we're going to use instead of a password to connect to our Gmail account.
Jake Sheely asked a question. I don't know what Jake was talking about, but he mentioned Go, but I think we're talking about Go on two different things, and everything is, now we're totally confused. So FileMaker plugins don't work directly on Go. If you want to use a FileMaker plugin on Go, you need to put the plugin on server and access it through a server connection, or you need to go through the mobile device management and the iOS app SDK, which is not a trivial exercise, and build your own runtime application. Moki says, is there a way to minimize the steps needed for login, less clicking OK in SCDs? I'm not sure what SCD.
Yeah. Let me talk about that right now. So basically, that whole process you just saw me go through, that's only required the first time if you don't have a token. Once you have a token, I'll show you. I'll kind of click this button again, and the email plugin is smart enough to say, oh, we don't need you to log in. Your token is still valid. You're automatically connected. You're good to go.
So for everyone out there, this whole thing with OAuth and getting it set up, we're going through the process of getting it kind of like, we're like prepping the connection. And once it's set up with this secret key and the token and stuff, you're done. It just works going forward. It just works. And yesterday we didn't really super go through this, but the same process is effectively there, where we go to FileMaker server and we put the tokens and stuff into FileMaker server. Once you do this in FileMaker server, then you have the external authentication that was working. That was yesterday's conversation, right? And so once we do this here, you don't have to do it anymore. You're done, right? Unless for some reason your token expires because of it.
I will say, you could. So the tokens are good. Let's see. Google tokens are good for 200 days. So
it says what is over 3599? I'm not sure what expires in 3599 is.
Well, we're gonna get a little technical, but I'll say if you understand one thing, I'll tell you that this token is good for 200 days. Now, if you want to get technical, and feel free to ignore this part, the way that tokens work is you actually get two. You get an access token and you get a refresh token. Your access token is only good for 1 hour. That's 3,600 seconds. So after that point, your access token is going to expire. And now the email plugin is smart enough to handle this. It's going to be fine. We can actually use your refresh token to get a brand new access token that's then also good for another hour. So it's more technically correct to say the refresh token is good for 200 days. The access tokens are only good for an hour. Does that, what do you think? Does that make sense?
Moki, okay, I'm sorry, I was talking, but you couldn't hear me. So Moki keeps asking, well, do I have to redo this every day? It's like, no, you have to do it every 200 days. I just said you have to do it never again. In the case of Google, you'd have to reset this every 7 months 200 or 8 months, whatever that is, right? That's still kind of stupid, because on the system we have right now, we don't have to do that. So you'd have to,
So every 6 months or so.
Yeah, see, the problem is with Mokia is that if people kind of set this up and then walk away from it, they want the tech to be like kind of not stupid. And so this actually is, I guaranteed employment for some IT person that you have to have, right? Because then you're not going to remember in 6.6 months or 200 days that this is broke, and you'll be really busy, and then suddenly out of the blue it'll be broke, and you'll be screaming and calling 911 and calling 360Works and yelling at Joe. Joe sucks. Joe's horrible. Just between you and me, because I look at the customer side of this. This generates automatic tech support, which is I guess is okay, but not really. So
Yeah.
so you have to manually intervene every 200 days with this system.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. Your users are gonna have to get new refresh tokens at that point. And that's I hear you. It'd be great if they lasted forever. Hopefully, maybe Google will expose a setting where we can make our tokens last, even longer.
Well, I mean, if someone's going to steal your token, it's not like it's going to go 200 days. I mean, I don't know why refreshing 200 days is a security thing. Either you do it every day or week, or you don't do it at all. Because, I mean, it's not like 200 days is going to somehow protect your account from someone who gets into it, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, we had someone get into our account. We talked about this yesterday, and they managed to wire themselves $10,000 in about 3 minutes. They didn't need 200 days, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So there's a conversation going. Oregon Dean goes, most OAuth refresh tokens last forever. This is a Google choice. Good point, Oregon Dean. Thank you for that. I did not know that, because I've seen. Like if you go to GoToMeeting and you have a token set up with GoToMeeting, it lasts for like millions of days or something like that. Practically, it never expires. But then other tokens do expire quite rapidly, right? So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I think honestly, I think it's a good point. I'd say that some good advice you can have is after you log in, after you use this token to log in, if you get a failure, send yourself an email on that failure. Or my preference is to have a log table where I can log all the error messages that are happening in my solution, and I'll go look there if problems start happening. But honestly, yeah, setting up that email alert if there's a login failure is a really great way to catch this. Yeah, I think the next thing I wanted to cover was, if we could move on, I wanted to talk about receiving emails in FileMaker.
Sure.
Because there's I wanted to recommend a specific way to do it. I feel like, so let me just back up for a second. There's a lot of ways to fetch messages from an inbox. You can, I think a lot of people will assume like, okay, just give me messages that are unread, or give me messages that have been received since a certain date. And those are okay, but they're not the best. For example, with unread messages, if you have this programmatic thing that's pulling in emails and you're only pulling in unread messages, well, if someone accidentally logs into that email server from another client or something like that and marks a message as read, now you'll never see that email. Your programmatic triage system will never pull that email in. Conversely, the other approach where you're fetching by a specific timestamp, basically give me all the emails sent after this certain timestamp, that's a little better. That's a little bit better. The problem I see people run into at that point is funny. It's actually like date formatting. It's hard to be consistent, especially if your mail server uses a different date format than what you're used to. So the best way to do it is actually, and let me kind of show you my, let me see. So let me go ahead and pull in some emails so I can show you what this looks like. Now, first I need to connect to my IMAP server, and I've already got my token, so I don't need to do that login. And I'm just going to go ahead and read in some emails from our email address. And this, I've set a limit here to only read in 25 emails. So this should be done in just a second. And there we go. And so this first one is just an email from Google. That's like the first email you get after you set up a Gmail account. And then I just sent myself a bunch of test messages. So what I want you to look at here is this field right here. It's called the UUID. Now, you may notice that this field is incrementing, and it's actually just a coincidence that it's sort of matching my, well, it's close to my number here. This UUID field is actually an auto-incrementing serial number that's managed by your email server. So the very best way for you to pull in email messages is to go to the end, get your highest serial number here, and then only fetch emails that have a higher serial number. And I've actually put together a little sample script for you in our demo file. If you open up the scripts and we go to our other examples and we look at our example Gmail mailbox sync, what we're going to do is sort of just that. And I'll walk you through this as we're going, because the first thing we do is I'm going to reconnect to our Google IMAP server, and then we need to go to our we need to go look at our messages, and like I said, we're going to go to the last record so we can get our highest serial number right here, and we're going to store that in a variable, and then we can call our email read messages function, and we pass in that serial number as the UID flag. So what this is going to do, the email plugin can take that UID and only pull down messages that have a higher UID than what we already have. So we are guaranteed to only pull down messages that we are missing. Let's go ahead and run that. And the other thing I wanted to mention here is, you may notice I've set a limit here so that I'm only pulling down 25 messages, and there's a very good reason for that. You may just go ahead and ask yourself, how many emails are in your inbox right now? Is it 10,000? Is it maybe 100,000? You know, you can have a ton of emails, and you really don't want to download all 10,000 emails at once. You're bound to run into problems there. Most likely your plugin's going to run out of memory, and it's just going to completely crash on you. So I highly recommend setting a limit here. 25 is definitely a little bit low. I want my demo to run fast, but somewhere in the range of like 100 to 200 is probably a good balance. That way you're only pulling in up to 100 messages, parsing those into FileMaker, and then you're sort of done. And then the idea here is that you'll have this on a server-side schedule that runs every so often. So every couple of minutes, you're pulling in 100 emails, and you're always staying current and up to date.
All right, so I'm going to interrupt right now because I'm going to go back to my system over here, and I'm going to we actually were doing this, which was kind of funny. So if you look at our file right here on the right side, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a 4-digit or 5-digit number over here on the right side. This is the number that he's talking about. So we do use this, right? We learned our lesson on this. And so we're at 60,806 for whatever reason, right? Which seems like a really low number. I think that number resets periodically for whatever reason. I'm not sure how or why, because I know that we've received more than 60,000 messages. But that being said, that we post that number here so we can specifically triage if we need to, but most of my staff always ignored this number. So that is the number. On our situation, we don't tell the server to do it because I hate running big server processes, because if you have a server process that runs wild, you always run the risk of crashing your server. We have a separate dedicated FileMaker Pro robot, which does come with its own challenges, but when it crashes or has a problem, it's a client that gets disconnected. It's not part of a server process that dies, right? So once again, same kind of technology, same thing. We're using we're using the 360 methodology and stuff. We're just adapting it a little bit differently in how we do it, because you could tell the robot, the server, to do it. But remember, if the server hangs, we talked about those processes with Jacob Taylor a couple days ago. You know, there's 5 or 6 or 7 processes that make up FileMaker Server on Mac or Windows or Linux. One of those processes dies, and you have to go into the machine, command line, see if you can restart the process. And if you can or can't, whatever, 100 variations can occur. You might have to restart the server. It might crash the files. You might have to restore from a backup. Who wants to buy that kind of exposure? And so we do, a good topic, robot client. Well, that's a good one. That would be a good, Jacob Taylor, don't you think that would be a good one to do?
Yeah, we can cover that. Kind of explanation as to what the upside are. And if you want, we can cover some of the challenges we've had with 19 on that as well. But
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I don't think because we yeah, that's a really great topic, Moki. Thank you for that. When you see stuff like that, let us know. Buzzing, people buzzing, and buzz, buzz, buzz. Right? I don't have the Nick Buzz box, but yes, that's a good topic, right? But once again, that's because we do so much processing. We don't want the clients to be stuck doing this. So on our screen right here. So in the event the robot dies, I'll lay this on everyone right here. I'm going to scroll to the top left. I have this manual check mail. We only press this button in the event that we have a little icon down here. If I go to layout mode, you'll see this like a little. You'll see this. Oh, here it is over here. It's the little dead robot. It's dead. Little eyes are blacked out. If we see this icon, we know that we have a strong indication our robot's died, and that it's like your autopilot in your airplane, or I guess in your Tesla car. If the autopilot fails, then you're on manual control. And this tells you that you need to be in manual control, which means that we manually can press the button up here. Otherwise, the robot does it every 5 minutes or so. It does a countdown check here, and it does it every 5 minutes. That's how we manage it. And it's not saying that's the best way of managing it. It's just a way that with 30 some odd people at RCC, and we have 7 or 8 of them in tech support, it's the best way of managing it here with that. So, all right. So, sorry, Joe, but I wanted to show the practical. Once again, we're eating our own dog food, right? You're demoing. You're not just demoing with some random company that's talking about your product. We eat Joe's dog food. Joe makes dog food, and we're down here, tasty, right? So that's us.
Yeah, I actually appreciate you saying that. The robot is kind of an interesting approach, and I'd love to watch the stream on that, because we do that. We've got a couple robots in house, and we use a couple programs to try and that like Fire Daemon Pro. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's what we use to sort of keep robots alive and restarted if they go down.
Okay, yeah, we might want to share some notes on that a little bit, or maybe include you on the broadcast, because the thing is that we try to avoid having a server process that crashes, yet the robot can crash. Now, I used to put the robot. I'm going to flip here a little bit. We're slightly off topic, but it's totally relevant here.
Yeah.
Whoa, I'm really big. Oh my God, how come I'm so big? Hang on a second. So here we go. Make me a little bit smaller. So real quick. So the issue with the robot is that I would want to keep an eye on it, right? And I was the boss, and I'm a very hands-on kind of guy. I'm getting to the point now where I have managers that do really great work at RCC, so I trust them to do their pieces. I don't micromanage them. But the robot, I'm working at my desk, and on my desk, it'd be like I'm sitting here at my desk, right? Here I am, working on my desk with you guys. And over here on the side over here, hiding over in the corner, might be the robot over here. I can't see my hand moving, but the robot would be over here on a single 20-inch monitor, and I could keep an eye on it while it was running. And so if I came to work and I was sitting at my desk, and suddenly out of the blue, it was like the blue screen of death or whatever the Mac does, or it's this beach balling or something, I could go right over here and slap it vigorously. Get your shit together, robot. And then pull the plug out of it if I need to. But the point is that it's better to do that with a robot than it is with your FileMaker server. Your server, you have to treat. It's like the ultimate, you rescue kitty. You got to pet it, talk nice to it, because you don't want it to die, because it takes your files with it. If the robot gets disconnected, it's such an important thing to understand that FileMaker server expects that clients get disconnected. It handles them gracefully. It's like, oh, you need to be disconnected? Gracefully disconnect. You're gone, right? It doesn't generally run the risk of blowing up files. So very, very important. Sorry, we're off topic, but yeah. So
well, and the other thing I wanted to say is I like the give your users the ability to manually refresh, to manually trigger this script so that they can pull down messages if something weird is going on.
Yep. So yeah, we'll invite you back to the robot discussion, right?
And then I just want to quickly go through App Drive. So basically at this point, I've read in my messages using the UID, and I'm going to harp on that one more time, because if there's one thing one piece of information that I can propagate well tonight, it's that this UID is our serial number, and those are going to be ordered in the order that they're received by your mail server. So if you looked at all of your messages, went back to the dawn of your email inbox, it would start at 1 and increment up from there. And kind of harnessing that is the best way to pull these in. So Anyway, all right, I've said my piece on that. So once we pull those messages in, then we can enter in our sort of email fetch loop where we can test if we have any messages left in memory, basically after reading them in. And then for each new message, we'll create a record, and then using our email read message value function, we can pull in all the values that you'd expect to see from an email. And so I'll go through this, and here's our last one. The UID, as you can see, is 26. So I'm going to just press play here, and we'll play through the rest. And there we go. I pulled in another 25 emails, and they're all in order. So that is my recipe for pulling in email messages.
All right. So there's a really from Damea. Damea is over here on Twitch. I'm gonna put this in the Slack for you real quick. I'm going to copy, and he had a good comment. He or she had a great comment. And if you can bring up Slack and you can check that message. It's interesting because it ID or something like that. But I've actually had mailboxes reset themselves back to 0 and screw everything up. So I'm not sure. 32-bit, but that doesn't mean 32 character, right? So 32 bits. So is it 8 bits?
Right.
8 times...
32-bit integer can hold up to 4 billion in terms of values. So you could count up to 4 billion using only 32 bits. This is kind of what we're talking about here.
Okay. Well, yeah. So it's not UUID, it's UID. So once again, it's really easy to get confused. At least I get confused by excessive UUIDs everywhere, right? So, because UUIDs are randomly generated, they're not sequential. These are clearly sequential, right? So.
And I think this is a really good point here. Is if we move mailboxes, then the UID will change. So that's definitely a consideration, because right now, by default, the email plugin will read from just your main inbox. But if you wanted to scan some other inbox as well, then you would kind of have to take that into consideration. My UIDs for my inbox are at this number, whereas my UIDs for a different mailbox are at maybe somewhere else.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. The number. Yeah. So you have to track the ID for each mailbox you're tracking, right? That kind of thing. Right? So
yeah.
Moki said, I tried once, and I think the biggest issue... Oh, he's back to robot. I'm going to shelve the robot just for now. But yeah, a lot of people are interested in the robot conversation. Yeah, so the mayor had one more comment you can use. I'm going to paste it in here for you, because I have to cross-transplant the data. Stand by. Here it comes. One last comment there. Whoop. All right.
Yep, and that's also that's another way that you can search for messages in your mailbox, and that works reasonably well. The problems I've just seen, mail servers when you go across the pond, those date formats start to change up on you. And I see people run into problems when they're using these date from and date to key value pairs. So my preference is to do the UIDs. This is still valid. You just need to be extra careful about the date format your mail server is using, and which is just a little, it can be a little bit of extra legwork. There's definitely more options you can do. Let's look at the documentation here for email read
This product
messages.
does a ton. For those of you wondering,
there's a lot of flags you can place. First of all, you could search for different mailboxes. You can skip a certain amount of messages. There's our UID flag. That's the one. I'm just going to harp on it again. That's my favorite one. You could filter from a certain from address or to address or subject. The message ID, I don't want to confuse you, but the message ID, that's more like a UUID. That is like this big 36 character, completely random ID that you'll see attached to these messages. Yeah, and then so... Lots of flags.
I
Lots of
do.
stuff
I
you
do
can
have a
do.
question. Do you want to mention the HTML email part of this? And you also had that be free
Yeah.
thing. So
Yes.
let's pivot our conversation to HTML emails that you can send out,
Yes.
and
All
also
right.
this little tool because we do this. This is what we use, but it's always trying to come up with a nice style of an HTML email that is not broke per se, if that makes sense. Because you build an HTML email, works great, and then you get on some weird version of, I don't know, Internet Explorer, whatever, version 10 or 11 or some really old ass thing, and then someone goes, "Hey, the email looks like my aunt," and I'm like, okay, well, and we have to triage what my aunt is and how he got to my aunt. And it turns out that it's a client, an email client we didn't test on, right? And so for me, it's always kind of a hassle. So what do you have for us, Joe?
So yeah. So first of all, I guess let's see. There's two things we want to show. We want to show sending an HTML email using the plugin, and then also separately, there's a really nice HTML editor you can use to craft these HTML emails. So to send these HTML emails, first I want to make sure I'm connected to my SMTP server. I'm just going to reconnect there, and then I'm going to hop over to my send email demo. And we've got an HTML email demo here where we can do a nice little preview. This is actually the email we sent out. And now let's see. I just want to make sure I'm connected there, and we're going to send it. I'm going to send it to myself, and now we can send. So once that comes through. There we go. That is from we sent this from FileMaker. It's a nice HTML email, and we could sort of preview and craft this, and do all the things you want. So now the question is, like, how do we make this HTML? I mean, this is a lot. I'll kind of blow this up, and we've got a lot of junk here, and it can be a real pain to sort of manage all this and come up with some, put together a nice HTML email. So what we use is this editor at befree.io. And I actually have to thank Charis Booker. She's our marketing person here. She's the one who found this.
Charis is pretty awesome. We like Charis. She's awesome.
She's great.
She is great. Yeah. And she puts up with Jesse, which means she's still there, which is awesome too, right? So it's always a good thing, right? So now I miss DevCon because she's one of the people we'd hang out with at DevCon, right? So
yeah. Oh man, I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, I know.
That'll be fun. Yeah. Let's see. I'm gonna just go ahead and start designing because this place is great. You can create a login. You can kind of log into their stuff, or you can just sort of go for it. They don't put any roadblocks in your way. And you could start with one of the templates that they have in place and sort of edit these. But man, they've got these great little.
Man, I'm in love with this. Is awesome.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah, it's
like
awesome.
You can really do just about, let's see. They've got the whole shebang. And it's all drag and drop. What you see is what you get. And then so once you've got this somewhere where you like it, then we can export it and get a zip file containing all of that HTML that we want.
This is pretty cool. So this is befree, BEERFEE.io, everyone. befree.io.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very, very cool.
And so then, we'll get, you do have some images in here that you may need to, you might want to, there's a little bit of extra consideration there. How are you going to, because these images will be referenced in your HTML. So you may need to host these and swap out your links.
So either you can host them and have them dynamically go that way, or you can pack them in there, right? Doesn't the plugin give you the either or on that? You could pack it in there.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, you can do, right, with the email plugin, you can do what's called inline attachments. And gosh, I wish I wish I was ready for that. Those are a little complicated, and we're going to run out of time. Yeah, with let me let me see if I can just quickly reference some documentation here.
Well, I've read through the docs a couple of years ago because I shot videos on this. But the idea was that, you know, for when we send emails out, we have the images on a server, but you can actually attach them to the file, but it makes your email transmission fatter, right? Potentially slower, potentially.
Because what you're doing is you're actually base 64 encoding that image. So here you would put the image in a container field and then put a little reference number, and then you stick the reference number somewhere in your email. But then that base 64 encoded data, it gets attached to the bottom of your email. Basically, if you looked at the raw source for your email, it's huge. I mean, base 64 encoded data gets really big really fast. So it's nice to have an email with everything in one place, but if you can make it work, I would suggest hosting the images somewhere and then referencing them using URLs in your email.
Yep. Yep. People are going like, yeah, definitely do them in line if possible. Moki says that. Eric's going, yeah, asking that, but he was figuring that out. Yep. No, this is good stuff. This is stuff that, because we you know, when people frequently see our messages, we're using this once again. Roof, roof. Our dogs are eating the 360Works dog chow, right? Roof, roof, right? So this is how we shoot this stuff out. But yeah, I was unaware of that really great, you know, getting emails to look great and have them tested on all the different browsers is really, frankly, a minor miracle. So this is for us a good thing. So Jacob's going, yeah. I got to check this out. So yeah. So anyway, but cool. Well, we're kind of winding. We got another 5 minutes here or so. Do we have other questions people want to ask or answer, or we just like guys want to call it good? Oh, we got the mayor. You can either host a file somewhere. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's yes. So I keep forgetting that the Discord and the Twitch and the YouTube folks are about 90 seconds behind the conversation, 2 minutes behind. So 90 seconds. So it's yeah. Go ahead.
Do we have any? Has anyone sent in their Gmail addresses that they want that I can plug into my developer key?
Yeah, I think they just did. They was in your email, right? So
great.
When you brought those up, you want to put some of those in real quick?
Yeah. Let's see. All right, here we go.
There's Scott. You can put him in. If Scott doesn't have a license for your stuff, he probably will get one at some point. So who else do you got?
Yeah, that's okay. We can, you know, our plugins run in demo mode for 2 hours. So so you get the plugin, you load it in FileMaker, you turn FileMaker on, you get 2 hours of free usage. If you need more time, just restart FileMaker.
Yeah. All right, Blair. Just a question. What's your call sign in here? Are you like stealthily someone else? Because I don't have a Blair as a call sign. Just I'm kind of curious. I always figure out these, like, you guys, you never know who TK55678 is, right? You know. Don.
Great. All right, and I'll keep an eye out for those. I'll try to enter them in as we go on. I've got room. I've definitely got room for a number of more users.
Then I doubt Joe's going to be working this all weekend, but I'm sure Monday he'll come back. And if you put it in late tonight or Saturday or Sunday, he can probably add you back in on Monday, and then it'll be free and functional until it doesn't work anymore. But what you said, 30 days probably it'll work okay or something, or
I would expect about that.
Yeah. Okay. So then after that, so if you're watching this video, everyone, and it's past, say, the end of May 2021, then shoot an email to Joe Martin's probably not going to do you any good. But, you know, never know. There you go. Tawas says 360Works rocks. That's correct.
Yay.
That's why they're here, right? That's why we license their software. We use their software. We eat their software. You know, like I said, I don't have random people on the broadcast. So anyway, Moki says he uses Cloudmail. Cloudmail is like a bulk carpet bombing capability, which is good, Moki. My problem is that when you folks get messages from me, they are customized for each individual, like really customized. Like you have a subscription. This is how many days left on your subscription. We appreciate you supporting our training. Here's the upcoming free events and blah, blah, blah. Or you're about to expire, please renew. Or you're expired, you definitely should renew. Here's your deal for renewing, right? So I customize every email personally. Well, my FileMaker system, using the 360Works dog food function, customizes it for you personally and shoots it to you, right? Makes sense, right? So this is like if you're going to send the same message to a billion, I'm having an Austin Powers moment, a million billion people or whatever. A million billion is like it'll cost you. I'm going to save I'll hold you hostage for $1 million, and the guy goes, oh yeah, $1 million. Well, we make that in an afternoon, sir. Then I'm going to hold you hostage for $1 million billion, and people are like, $1 million billion. Well, then everyone goes into a panic, right? Great Austin Powers moment. So, but yeah. So $1 million billion emails is what you use Cloudmail for.
Also Cloudmail is really good. You know what you get. So I'll say Cloudmail can't read in emails, so that's what you'd want the email plugin for. But also Cloudmail can track views and clicks and unsubscribes and all those other sort of bounces, the marketing stuff. That's what you need for your marketing. Cloudmail automatically does all of that, where the email plugin does not. You'd have to sort of roll your own in the email plugin.
All right,
so that's
so I'm going to pivot real quick. Oregon Dean says, do we want to mention that your email plugin does SMS messaging?
Yeah. Let's see.
So everyone over here, just do me a favor, just to stop. Start at the top. Start at the top just for a second. Humor me on this. Go to the top of this list over here. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Just go to the top. Now, everyone pay attention. We're going to slowly scroll down. Okay. This is all the stuff it has in it. It's got look at Office stuff in here. I don't know what that's about. It's got tons of stuff in here. Right. Keep going. Tons of stuff, tons of body, header, keep going. So in here is where's the SMS? There's the SMS right here. So it's one of many things that are in here. Yes.
And the email plugin can send SMS messages. Now, what it does is it actually we integrate with Amazon Web Services here. So you need an Amazon access key and secret key. But then you can just pass in a list of recipients, a list of phone numbers you want to send to, and the text that you want to send them, and off it goes.
Yeah, so someone said, well, not Twilio. We have other demos where we've done Twilio before. That being said, I prefer to use AWS. We talked about this yesterday. We were end up recommending Azure and Microsoft yesterday just because there's not a valid competitor from the AWS world. Moki's asking if you can use a short code with that. Yeah, that's a good one. Oregon, I thought he was referring to that short code. I went through this with Twilio, but you have to pay don't you have to pay like a ton of money? I mean, like a buttload of money to get a short code, right? Like,
short codes are pricey. Yeah, I think you get the long code for free, and then you got to pay a bunch.
Well, a long code is like a phone number, right? Like 55512331212 or something, right? That's like the number you're from. But a short code is like text 5512. They'll give you a short code like 334, and then you'll be entered to win a new car or something, right? You see that on TV or on YouTube or wherever you see it, right? Text.
Yeah, I think I'm not super well versed in this. This is some kind of homework I need to do for myself. But I will tell you, the email plugin can't receive text messages. It can only send them at this point. So if that changes, we'll let you guys know.
Yeah. So if you want to receive the SMS messages back or response back, then that's back to Twilio. But once again, this depends on what you're looking for. He's always this person. I think it's a Friday person. He says, "How about receiving text? You can't receive text with this plugin. If you want to send and receive text messages, you need to get an API demo. We have one where we've done a demo with Twilio. It should be a video or a live stream. I will go and find that. If it's not, I can bring that back and reconstruct that. In fact, actually, I've wanted one of my engineers to build this for me, and they haven't done it yet because we have a lot of coaching sessions. I want to send an SMS message to the person, reminding them they have a coaching session, and then allowing them to reply back and say cancel or accept or whatever. So anyway, I think that would be a great demo. I just don't have one right now. I could really use it. So does this, Moki says, does this one have a stop style unsubscribe function?
Yes, but it's at a different level.
Are we talking about SMS? What are we? When he said this?
Yeah, so I'll explain.
This? Okay.
So when you send SMSs, bulk, we'll say you're an SMS sender. So you're using the 360Works plugin to go blast out to people. If you're in the U.S., you are legally required to halt all further messages if someone replies stop, unsubscribe, or there's a list of words like that. And so that would happen at a different level. The 360Works plugin wouldn't have anything to do with that, but Amazon would probably honor that, though.
Okay,
if
so
you were sending
Oregon
through.
Dean's just said it's at the carrier level, which makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, different level.
Whoever's sending the text. So it's a good alternative example. If you integrate Twilio, if someone texts stop back to the Twilio number that you sent from, Twilio cuts off communications. They won't let you send them another text message.
So the question is, Moki has a good question. If someone says stop, do you get the stop back? Would you know that they said stop, or would the carrier just like
it?
Right.
Yes, if you have configured the thing that lets you know about that.
Yeah.
There's a webhook that you can listen to, basically, that you can set up with most of those providers, where they'll say, hey, this phone number texted us to STFU, and then you can do what you need to do with that information, put them on your list.
Okay.
Put them on your don't send list.
That's how Amazon SES does it. Yeah, if people unsubscribe.
Yeah. Okay. So Moki caught that. He goes STFU. He goes, and he's laughing out loud, right? Because you slid that right in there. That's not normally part of my vernacular. I would just say it out loud, but it's that you're the G-rated family version of Richard Jacob, which is very nice. Family Richard. All right, cool. Well, Oregon Dean says sometimes it's the actual carrier, AT&T, Sprint, Verizon, etc., and sometimes at the facilitator level, Amazon. Depends on the kind. Hey, you sure you're like a cardiac surgeon or something, Oregon Dean? Because you sure act like you're not a surgeon or a doctor. You sure act like you're like an IT guy that plays doctor on TV, right? So, all right, folks. I'm listening.
Sorry, Mark actually just sent in and was wondering if this would work for G Suite customers. And that's an interesting question. You know what? Mark, if you could give it a shot and let me know. Typically with G Suite,
hey, will this go to Mars or not? Well, why don't you hold your breath and launch your ass into space and see if you make it alive, right? So
let's see. I'm gonna add you, and then let's. But with G Suite, you know what? With G Suite's actually a little bit easier. That big long setup process that you go through, I think G Suite actually gets to take a few shortcuts there because they are limited to basically with my experience with G Suite. If you set up a developer account with your G Suite users, then you don't need to add any test users. Anyone who is in your G Suite setup is automatically approved to send and receive emails with the email plugin. Basically, this is the reason I'm putting in email addresses here is because this is a public external non-G Suite account so that anyone in the world can use it, but I've got to add them as test users and kind of jump through this hoop. So yeah, if you want to, Mark, if you want to send some emails, let me know how it goes.
He just sexted me back. Yeah. I'm getting in the hang of things here with Eric. So he sexted me back. Mark says, I'll play with it Monday and I'll let y'all know how it's going.
Great.
All right. So, yeah, this is all getting kind of spicy here on Friday afternoon, right? So, so I have a general sense and an interest on my end. I have an interest in kind of pushing the SMS conversation forward a little bit. I would like to be able to attach a little sample file. Of course, we would make this free, but I would love to have a sample file that allows to attach it to like a project or a meeting or an event. Lets the person know, lets them to confirm. Like my dentist sends me this all the time. Like I have a dentist appointment next week at some point, and then I'm going to get this text message that says, you have an appointment at blah, blah time, C to confirm, or S to STFU, or whatever the slang is for that. But you get the idea, and then it could come back and they could mark it in your FileMaker system. I think that would be really a great little sample file to have. It would have to work with Twilio, and I'm me myself. I'm buzzing. Bzz, bzz, bzz. This is Richard having interest in this. Except everyone's going to look at me like, "Hey, Richard, break out the wallet and pay someone to build this, right?" So, but yeah, I'm thinking along the line. Yeah, see, TK is like, "Yeah, your wallet's good. Go for it," right? So.
Yeah, I guess if we're talking kind of pie in the sky, there's a service. Amazon offers a marketing service called Amazon Pinpoint, and this it actually kind of does everything. It does two-way SMS communication, two-way emails, and everything is sort of funneled in through what they call campaigns and channels and stuff like that. There's kind of a lot of RTFM. You got to read the manual on this stuff.
Well, we're having an acronym day. I like that one too. Read the fracking manual. That's a Battlestar reference, right? So yeah, okay.
So it's fairly complex. We've kind of looked at integrating with this in the past, and it sort of got sidelined for some other more pressing projects. But I think this would be a really cool service to integrate with, considering it's just got really featureful marketing stuff that you can use. It can also do push notifications to like if you have an app that you made with the like the iOS SDK, you could set it up to do push notifications to that, which would be pretty cool.
So if you want a deal on this, do we have any like discount coupons, or we have to like email Jesse for an amazing sale price?
God, I blew it. I should have got a little discount going. You know what? Let me get in touch with Cheris and see if we can put something together for next week.
Yeah, well, if you want to come back next week at some point or something, we can bring it back and let people know. They can give like a special deal off that if you buy it next week, it'll be twice its normal price, but you'll have a good feeling in your heart about supporting 360Works. So yeah, that would be awesome. So I want to welcome everyone. Thank you, Megan, for leaving early. You're excused. Alpha Lima 92651. We have not worked on this. I have to decide, because I don't know if I want to wait 3 months for 360Works to work on their pinpoint AWS thingy. So because it sounds like more of an immediate project for me. We could do it with Twilio. I mean, I could do it with 360Works, but then they'd have to have a product that was nearly done, and they're just thinking about doing it. It's different than. Yeah, happy hour. There's Ellen. Where's Ellen Lobster when we need her, right? So I miss her. She's awesome. So, all right. Well, that's it for today. Next week is next week, Monday. I'm sure something impressive will happen with Nick Hunter. Hopefully he'll be here. All right, got it. Roger that. STFU. All right, roger that. Thank you, Organ Dean. Bye.
Thanks, Richard.
See ya.
Just stepped up the whole way. Calm, cool, collected the quarterback. Great read, good patience. More importantly, great job up front protecting this quarterback to give you a chance. And that's all you can ask for.
Try to rally down 10. 9:25 to go here in the fourth. Short motion by Amendola from the left. Brady takes the shotgun snap. Stands in, throws it left for Amendola. Reaches up and snacks a high throw and lands inside the 10. Rolling to the 9. Ball slightly behind him, but Danny makes the grab.